ahead and start.
Yeah, I saw it.
I know it's not exactly 5:15, but I'm gonna get things moving. So, welcome back. We're what, a week and a half, 2 weeks in. This is the smoothest start. I got no calls.
Yay.
I haven't got yelled at by anybody. Calling.
Oh, no thanks.
So, no, it's been super smooth. And that's all because of you guys. So thanks for, saving my ear. I think even last year, the biggest problem last year was the mix up with the shuttle and the high school kids. So Christian, you did a great job taking that on, getting that map, getting with those parents. So it's been really great.
Oh, wow.
Have you guys had any issues?
Yeah, there you go.
Somebody didn't tell me
I
till
told them-
yesterday I was gonna drive.
I told FD that we were gonna put air conditioners in all the buses over the summer. Did that not happen?
Oh my gosh.
It didn't happen.
Those little fans just don't cut it.
Oh, that just blows hot air around.
Have the kids say about
In the morning, they're good because of the humidity
Oh,
and
yeah,
everything,
yeah,
but at nighttime, it's just blowing more hot air.
It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. New staff, we have one new team member, and that's Shelley McCormick.
Yay!
So welcome, your first meeting. She is driving bus 82. Now that we finally have bus 82, so she kind of got off to a rocky start. We had some issues with the bus, but we're good. We're rolling. Everything is going good. We need more drivers. So I have.
I need chairs left.
We have
I
Don't have any
We
chairs.
don't have any more chairs. Hey, if anybody can help me with getting Bonnie out and driving, everything just kind of went to crap, Bonnie, after school started, so.
It's always crazy for me too, so. Oh, Christian's gonna take me out next week.
Okay,
so,
all right,
yeah.
okay, sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I don't think
anybody
I
that
could've
wants
done
to
it if
give
you
her
could've.
some hours
That's
behind
how
the
crazy
wheel,
it's
I mean, even if it's Garden Plain or College, St. Mark, anywhere, the more we get her behind the wheel, the faster she's cruising along. But if you guys have any ideas, I don't know how, I'm running out of steam on how to recruit and try to get more drivers.
You haven't had a rush on them certified staff that you sent out?
I got a couple of inquiries about what the pay was, and then that was it.
Gee, that's a shocker.
And even there, I mean, my hands are so tied there, I have no power to,
They're used to that.
trust me, if I had that power, everyone would be in a better state. But no, I did not get any rave people knocking my door down, wanting to come join us. So, I don't know if anybody else has any great ideas. I've had secretaries email stuff out, I've put it all over social media, I've begged Pete to help me out this month, just to get us through this month as an emergency sub, and he's super excited about it.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I know him.
Anything to help you out.
So, I guess, happy wife, happy life, I don't know, but, so, I keep trying to subtly lead him back more as part-time as possible, but, it's not going so well. I'm not attempting with my father-in-law, I'll let my mother-in-law deal with that. So, if anybody has any great ideas on ways that we can try to recruit some more drivers, I've talked to Heidi Wells, and she has taken it up with all of her kitchen staff. If they want more hours. She said, I got a couple raised eyebrows. Oh, that sounds fun. That sounds interesting. I might do that, but
How about that finger set over here?
Good luck.
well, I mean, I seriously, I just am like, I don't know how else we can get people in here and driving.
I
So,
can check, but I.
Yeah, I've already tried.
so if you guys have any ideas, even if you know somebody, if you want to send, just to have a conversation or let them ride with you, or, I mean, I'm willing to, whatever it takes to get people out there, see what it's like, and just roll with it. If you have any ideas, let me know. We have birthdays this month, 4 of you. Judy is in 2 days, Friday, and Melissa is here, and hers is, Saturday, same day. I have one. McKenna's birthday is Saturday. And Ron has a birthday this month, and Suzanne.
September's a good month.
So you still have to claim that you have birthdays. I've now announced it to everyone. There's a chair here, guys, but that's all we've got. Yeah, sorry. Anybody else have a birthday this month that I missed?
Yeah, I can bring my big poster and my caution tape. Put it around your bus.
Okay, so happy birthday, guys. I hope it's a
Thank
great
you.
month.
Hey,
Maps.
We can make a new sign.
Maps, if you haven't given me a map for your, even if it's, I know a lot of the sped drivers, you just write it out. I need those, because if something comes up and you need a sub, I can't help you until I have a map, because our loving subs do love having maps. And when you, speaking of our loving subs and maps, when you give me your map, instead of just giving me just the map with roads and all these dots and squiggles, the subs really like having that list, whether it be handwritten or typed, that has an address for each stop. Because sometimes they just see a dot, they don't know which house that is, and if the kids aren't out there, they don't know where to stop. So if you could, even if you write something, I'm more than happy to type it up for you if that helps. But if they can have that list along with the map, it really kind of helps them know exactly where to stop. So, if you can turn those in when you turn in your maps, that'd be great.
Who's gonna tell her the address is on the mailbox?
Well, that's not my problem, but they should have an address on their house or somewhere. So, anyway, all right, forms. I gave you all, I kind of made you guys some, forms. So time cards, your time cards are now in my hands. Billy's not gonna be taking care of your time. That's on me now. So, but the process stays the same, okay? So you're gonna fill it out, your drive time, okay? Your actual drive time. So from the time you do your pre-trip, you start your pre-trip until the time you get back, okay? It doesn't matter if that's 20 minutes or if that's an hour and 20 minutes, you still get paid your minimum. But we have to have the exact drive times. I can't stress that enough. Okay, don't write down your minimums, write down your actual drive time. Does everybody understand that?
You don't want us to leave it blank, I'm just gonna put time in, time out.
I want your time in, time out, I want your drive time. But then over here, in the drive time, in the paid time, leave those blank, because that's where we add up your hours and we fill all that in. Okay? No. No. Because we write over it anyway. Because we have to put in your drive time in one place, and then your minimums go in another place. I've learned a lot now that I've learned how to do this. So leave those blank. You have to sign it at the bottom. Okay, so please be sure to sign those. Any questions on time cards? Those are good. And they have to be turned in when?
Monday.
Mondays. Okay?
Email them now.
Not, yeah, I'll take them now. Not once a month. Okay, every week they need to be turned in. Okay? Pre-trips. Here's my biggest thing with pre-trips, is you guys, some of you, yes, are doing a wonderful job and I appreciate it. Some of us are having problems writing our mileage. So when I get these, and if there's only like your start mileage, but I don't have an end mileage, then I can't figure out mileage for the month. And then, like last week, for like 2 weeks, I had to go through and do a big state report that Pam has to submit to the state to show our mileage, and it wasn't adding up, because we weren't recording our mileage correctly. Okay, so you write your start mileage, and then your end mileage, and then whatever you write for your end mileage would be your start mileage for the next month. Okay, but I really need you guys to write that down. Christian?
On the time card, is there any way we can have a digital copy sent to you, or do you need a paper copy?
Kim types hers up, I mean,
Can I just
They-
email it?
they can't be emailed because they
because
have
it'll
to
be
be
signed.
signed. Okay,
Well,
I
if I
know,
take a picture of it, text it to you, it's still signed.
I have to have the originals. That's not my rule, that's the rule that I'm told. that-
I just thought I'd ask.
I know, it's been asked, and I wish I could just say yes, that'd be super, but they want the originals. Because they have to file them and keep them, I don't know what they do with them.
If we turn them into our schools, you get them on Monday.
I get them the next day
The
usually.
Yeah.
next day, is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yep. When I turn them in on Monday, I get them on Tuesday, and then I can start sorting them. But yeah, if you give them to your school, whether it be Garfield Elementary or Garfield High School, or wherever, St. Mark's College, they send them to me, and I get them the next day, so that's fine. But on your pre-trips, please make sure to write your mileage. That's just, it killed me. I was saying some not very nice things. Because I had to go through each person's month-by-month mileage and try to find the discrepancies, and I wasn't very excited about it. So, please make sure to record your mileage correctly. And, again, sign it as well. Activity trips, again, it's mileage, because I have to turn in, we can get funding for this mileage, so, I need to have all those activity miles too, because I have to report all of those as well. So, make sure your activity miles are accurate. Any questions on any of that?
Yeah, when you take the bus in, or drive home, we took the miles, what the bus stays there, then we put it in miles.
Yeah, you just put your first of the month miles and your end of the month miles. And then any activities that you drive in between, I separate those
You
out.
mean if our bus is sitting at Cummins at the end of the month?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that's what you're talking about.
It gets
Yeah,
kind
what
of
is-
confusing.
No, because that's included in your monthly miles. You know, I just need whatever
That's
that.
not
Well, what if
every
you're-
mile? When we take
What if you're
buses
driving
in?
a substitute bus at the end of the month? What are you supposed to do then?
You
That- I
have
think
to,
that's
on
what-
there, every sub bus
Every
should
bus
have
has a
pre-trip
sheet.
inspection, so if you're if it's the last day of the month, then you're the last person in that bus, you
Yeah.
need to write down that mileage.
Cause I
And then
did that at
start
the
the
end of
next
the year
month.
last year when I was driving that.
Yeah, sub buses were torture, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie,
Cause a lot of times they don't.
because it's like a day here or a day there.
Now, I did not fill, I didn't drive her for bus 20 because other people took it.
That's okay if you don't write the driver, but I'm gonna try to get better about getting those collected every month. I know Kenny helps me a lot at Andale, because he'll get in and out of the buses and bring them to me. So I appreciate that too, but yeah, that mileage is just so important.
And when we-
It should be. If you're missing anything, it's my kids' fault because they put your books back together. So don't yell at me. Well, you can yell at me and then I'll yell at them. But no, if you need something, let me know. Some of the sub buses may not have everything because they didn't make it to my office. So if you get in one and they need something, let me know.
When we drop buses off in Wichita to Big Work Dock, we take the book with us.
No.
You don't? I do.
But the gas
I do.
card
I
said
take
that.
mine with me, cause it's got my gas card and it's,
Yeah, but that gas card should only be used for that bus. Every bus has a gas card in it. Every
Right.
sub bus has a gas card.
but it also has my time card in it.
I
Yeah.
take mine.
I take mine with
I
me.
take mine
I
with me, too.
always
I'm afraid
do.
with mine not good about.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're gonna get.
Never
when
know.
you-
Yeah, and you don't know how
Bus is
long
gonna
it's
be
gonna be
there.
there.
Yeah.
Right, Shelley?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's up to you. If you wanna take it, take it. But don't use that gas card for a sub bus.
No, no,
Cause then Diane yells at me, this gas card doesn't match up.
Well, you put the number of the gas card. when you fill out
But
the gas sheet,
each gas card is assigned to a vehicle.
right,
And then she goes through
right.
the statement and verifies it. It's how, we just kind of monitor to make sure maybe if a card gets
Right.
lost.
Somebody needed a gas card, so I let them use mine, and so I just had them put on the side that it was card from number 70.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
only vehicles that don't have customers in them are like the Suburbans that are at the high schools. Cause they're, I think here, like the custodians fill them
They're
up,
supposed to, yeah.
Yeah.
and stuff, supposed to. So. Any other questions on that stuff?
Nope.
If your gas card is Garden Plain, you can only use it in Garden Plain. But if you want an Andale one, I can get you. They're different, yeah, and they're different because they're
Oh, I
different.
have my pink sheets in a different notebook,
Yeah, Kansas doesn't.
cause that was happening to me so much.
Right.
Okay, when we take
But your
buses in, we charge them for 2 hours or like only an hour?
Like going with
Buses
FD,
in to
like when you're
leave
going
off.
with FD.
Oh, you just put down your time. I don't charge them for 2 hours.
I didn't
just-
either,
Yeah, 'cause
Well,
I
it's
just
not
put down
really
the
an
time
A
extra-
that
lot
it
of times
took
it's
me.
just an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Just an
It's not really
hour.
an extra-
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I've been doing, and I
Yeah.
thought, well,
yeah.
make sure it's.
right.
Anything else there before we move on? Evacuations, I think it worked out well last semester when we scheduled them and everybody just got them done all at once for the big bus drivers. Suburban drivers, I'm always available if you need somebody to supervise your evacuation.
Am I gonna be
Just get with
driving?
me. So, Andale Elementary is gonna do theirs on the 24th.
She's gonna-
Yeah.
Andale High School, which is just Christian. Okay, so you
Oh,
other
I'll be
Andale
there.
drivers, you don't have to do the Andale High School one, but, so Christian will do yours on the 12th. You're just gonna have to be there a few minutes early,
Right in front of the school.
yeah, wherever you normally load.
Okay.
And then you'll go through your safety, you know, if you have to evacuate the bus. Beforehand, let's just do, let's do front door evacuations this first time. No.
Are you gonna come call
Carmen, you'll do yours on the 25th.
Mr. Stone be there or what?
I'll come.
Okay.
I'll be there. Wrote them all on my calendar. Garden Plain on the 10th. We'll just do them at the, you guys are just parked at the grade school, right?
Yeah, yes.
And St. Mark's on the 18th. Okay, but again, sped drivers, suburban drivers, if you guys need somebody to witness or whatever, just
I
let me
need
know.
a kid, if I did it Andale,
That'd probably be
if
helpful.
you have to go mine or south.
Yeah. We'll talk. We'll figure it out.
Or
We'll
what
problem
yours.
solve. Borrow one of my kids?
Mhm.
If you borrow them, you have to keep them.
You just need to have, I got room in my house.
One thing we may have to talk to the Andale, or Garden Plain Elementary is because the sped buses don't usually leave till 25 after, over at the elementary, so that will probably,
Oh, yeah, we won't be able to be there at
we won't
3:20.
we won't be able to be there.
You won't be able to pull, you guys don't pull in until,
They
3:25.
won't until they leave. And it's about 3:22, wasn't it?
3:22, 25, maybe some in that area.
I'll just do it as soon as we can get them.
Okay, all right, okay.
We've got
Yeah.
problems at college too with the 4 sped buses coming in, sitting on the road, loading and unloading at night.
What time are they leaving?
Sometimes it's they're holding the kids till they're out of there.
I'll talk to Mr. Stone and see if we can make some schedule adjustments or something.
Because I usually come a few minutes early, and there's only been 3 buses. Well, mine, there was 4 buses, and they were completely on the street.
All right,
loading.
I'll talk to him, see if we can problem
Does he
solve
let 'em
that.
out the room?
Any other questions on evacuations?
No.
All right, discipline and write-ups. Before we just, when you guys write kids up, and then you take it into the principal, you're taking their time, which they don't mind, but if we're gonna write somebody up, let's make sure that what we're writing them up for is serious enough to justify the write-up. Does that make sense? You know, make sure if they're, you know, putting their feet on the seat, we're not gonna write a kid up for just, you know, that's when you have a talk with them. This is why we don't do that. If it continues to be a problem, call
Okay.
mom. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm just having this problem. Could you talk to Johnny about keeping his feet on the floor? Let's try to problem solve without just jumping right to the principals. Not that they don't like seeing you, but they wanna see you for positive things, so that's when you go in and say, hey, Susie on the bus today helped this kindergartner get on and off the bus, or, they love that stuff too. So don't just go to them with the write-ups and the negatives. Share with them the positive things that happen too. I know a lot of the schools are doing that good news call of the day, and the kids get to go to the principal's office and take a selfie and call mom and say, hey, I did this great thing today, and, they get a bracelet or something, and they love that stuff. So don't be afraid to go to your principals with the positives, and try to keep the negatives as much as, because they're kids and everybody screws up. If we can deal with as much of that on the bus, one-on-one with the students, let's try to do that. So, is that, everybody good there? You guys do a good job of that, let's just try to keep that up. Stops and lights, I'm not calling anybody out, but I was watching people load at Andale last week, and somebody had their unload, and somebody had their stop sign out. I'm not naming any names. So, Rod had his stop sign out, and actually people were stopping, so that's a positive, right?
John hollered at me and said, Rod, your stop light's out.
Oh, yeah, so,
Forgot to turn it off.
so I just kind of went through the CDL manual and just kind of printed it out and gave you guys a refresher course on loading and unloading and your lights and all that stuff. Making sure we're using, our lights properly, and then making sure that we're helping our kids get on and off the bus safely. I know Pete drove for Terrell yesterday. He was so nervous because he had to stop on 21st and drop kids off, and he was scared to death, but he said it was fine, they did great, so.
Those kids are doing awesome. I mean, you let them out, they go to the side of the road, and they wait till I wave them across. And
I mean, you have your kids trained on, which is
You
good.
have to.
just getting the drivers acclimated.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just make sure that you're still communicating with your students when they have to cross the road, to wait on the side of the road till you give them the signal. So you make sure that all those cars are stopping, because I've already gotten multiple stop sign violation forms. And it's only, the second week of school. So just make sure that you're still constantly talking to your kids. There's some here. About waiting on the side of the road, waiting for your signal. You're waiting for the cars to stop, making sure that it's safe for them to go, and then they can go. Okay, so there's just a little light reading. I'm not gonna read all this to you. You can listen to that. So, just make sure, give yourself a little refresher. It'll take you 3 or 4 minutes. And just make sure that we're keeping our kids safe. So, the last thing I have, but I couldn't get it hooked up, I talked to Mindy today, about construction, because it's about to start. So I have site maps, that show at each school where there's gonna be fence, where our biggest issue is gonna be where we're gonna park. Buses at, high school, or at St. Mark's, or here at Garden Plain. So those are talks that we're gonna keep having, because come wintertime, we plug things in, we're gonna be hurting for plugs. So we're gonna be having talks about that. But just communicate with your principals, and communicate with your kids about safety. St. Mark's, I'm still a little unsettled about that situation over there, but that's how they wanna do it. And so, please just keep communicating with your kids to make sure that they aren't running out. And they get just on the bus and sit. I'm real nervous about that. But I think it's going fine here at Garden Plain, with the high school kids coming across.
Yeah, they're
I
coming.
think it's going fine at Dandale with those high school kids. If you got a high school kid lollygagging, you leave them once and they gotta call mom to come get them. That's probably about all it'll take, so. Remind them that you're on a schedule, and so they have to keep moving.
Yeah, and Garden Plain teachers have really been good about holding the high school kids when they come across, to hold them until we're all parked too.
Good.
Which has been really helpful.
Good, so just keep communicating with your building principals, you know, if you see something that maybe you think needs to change, don't be afraid to communicate with them. Okay, cause I'm sure they get tired of making all those decisions on their own. So, you guys see that stuff out there, you see ways that we can be safe and be efficient, and so don't be afraid to communicate that. Okay? If you guys wanna look at site maps, I can show them to you when we're done. Anything there? I really like the cartoon this
I do
time.
too.
Yeah, I know, that's good.
Perfect.
Did you see the one on Facebook that said, I would rather tell my boss that I was 10 minutes late than rather calling a mother and tell him why their child is dead?
That's a good one.
I thought, oh, man.
All right, we have a special guest this evening, so I'm gonna let Terrell introduce and tell about what's going on with this.
Okay, first thing, I'll go through what we're working on. As you know, we've got a big problem, and it's getting worse. That's stop sign violation. I think I've had 3 stops with 4 cars. I had a 2-for-1 on one person. But anyhow, it's getting worse. Last year, I averaged 1 to 2 a week. And this year, it seems like it's getting worse. But last winter, I talked to Representative Seibert, and there was a bill, I guess it died in committee, that would allow cameras to be put on the bus. And so, I've got with him here this past month, we've been discussing it, kinda wanting to get a bill that would allow cameras to be on the buses, and the footage, whether it's a picture or film, would be used in the court of law. Currently, it has to be witnessed by a law enforcement officer, and that's it. Now, I do think I had a parent last year that filed a complaint. I think it got processed. Otherwise, it has to be witnessed by law enforcement. And trying to get that passed where the bill would allow cameras to be used as evidence, so a citation could be issued. The second thing is, that probably goes with this, would be the fines, trying to get a minimum fine, because I've heard everywhere from 200 to 400. I think Sedgwick County is 470. Okay, 420. But anyhow, try to get something standardized minimum in the state of Kansas. If these towns wanna go higher, that's their right, whatever. But the first violation would be $500, and it goes on your record permanently. The second one is a $1,000 fine, and it stays on your record. The third one would be $2,500, and possibly suspension. And then the fourth one, we could go on and on, probably 5,000. There would probably be 6 steps to it. And then after the 6, probably be 10,000 and they lose their license. That probably will go with this, I don't know if it, for sure. But the third one is, when we stop and we have a 5th grader or below, and we have to dump off in front, and they have to cross, would allow us by law to cross the center line and stop with our signs out. Currently, that's against the law, but this would make it legal. And it have to be 5th grade or less, and when we say 5th grade, you know, elementary's K through 5. And 6, 7, 8 middle. Surely by middle school they would know.
Good thing.
I would hope. But that's why we're saying 5th grade. And this is your chance tonight. I've invited Representative Seibert. I'm gonna let you have the floor. I wanna thank thank him for coming too.
I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. I appreciate what you do, and I thank Terrell, we've had numerous conversations, and this is the thing, appreciate what you do. And by the way, my name is Joe, you know, I'm local Cyward, so if you've heard that name, and we're all related, so don't say nothing bad about my relatives. You know, we don't get nowhere doing that, but it's interesting what you say, because it is a problem, you know, and we talked about it. In fact, I was in Pratt today earlier at a meeting, and it was kind of brought up in a different way. And exactly what you say, how we enforce it. You as drivers, your concern and what you do for your kids is outstanding, what you do. And again, listening to you talk about trying to find drivers, I hear that from a lot of districts also. And I also hear it from a lot of businesses. They can't find anybody who wants to work anymore. And it even goes to, you know, and I'm not off the subject here a little bit, but with the Walmart, Keysocks, and Dillon's, it's not the fact that they're trying to do away with employees. They just can't find people to work there. And so in order for them to get people through this lines, they have to do that. It'd be nice, you know, but our generation, looking around, and the generation I grew up in, we all still working and look for jobs and bus driving and whatever. I see some friends of mine I've known for a long time here that, you know, are retired and whatever. That's a difficult job because the hours, you know, I was on the school board for 12 years in Prairie too, and that was one of the things we fought years ago. But back to what Terrell says is that deal. In fact, I was talking to a friend that he said in another school district here around Wichita, his son's a highway patrolman, and they had some issues with the school bus route. So he actually set up and watched them, and he was credited for giving 8 tickets at one stop. And he sat there and he videoed it, and he went around all 8 cars after they went around, blocked the road, and went down the line and gave 8 tickets. That's how what you're saying is creditable to me. And that's amazing. It gives me goosebumps. Because somebody said earlier, you know, I'd rather be 15 minutes late. How did you say that?
10 minutes late. Tell my boss I was 10 minutes late rather than call a mother and tell them why their child is dead.
Exactly. You know, and discipline, we hear the discipline, but back to the deal. Terrell and I talked about it quite at length, and when I told him I would work with it, if you guys want to come up with some guidelines, like he said, and craft a bill, I will take it in and get it drafted. You know, tell what you'd like to see, what you'd like to do with the cameras, the fines, the penalties, and we can work on that. And that would be up to you to get together as a group of drivers and come up with something everybody could agree with. And I would be happy to take that for you and push that. So you don't have to explain to somebody what happened on that intersection. It's tremendous responsibility that you do, yet you're, you know, people sometimes, you know, not trying to be negative, but they kind of look down on what we do, you know. You work hard, you know, no matter what it is, whether you're a crossing guard, you're a school bus driver, you're, you know, helping people, working on a township, working for the county, running the flags. I did that when I was in college. You know, we was allowed to take the sign and hit them if they went by, but you can't do that anymore.
Times have changed.
That's probably why they temporary, but if you wanna hit somebody, go ahead. You know, I'll be here at the end of summer anyway, so. Well, it got somebody's attention, you know. But I won't keep you long. So I'd be happy to meet with you if you get again, if you would want to do that, if you're interested in doing that. You put something together, we'll refine it, I'll get it drafted through, and we can maybe do it before school starts. You know, I can maybe run the process ahead of time, and that way it gets introduced in January and we get some dialogue on it. I am on the transportation committee also, so it would probably come to my committee. And usually what makes a bill effective, I always say you get the best legislation money can buy, and I mean with a lobbyist, you know. People don't understand that, but unfortunately, being a country boy myself, that's true. You can have the best legislation and only one person that's, you know, all of you can't take off to go up there to testify, right? But if they hire 10 lobbyists to go talk to everybody, I see Gene and some friends of mine that come up there for KEC, and I've been going to KEC meetings here lately. But they lobby for that, you know, and that's what you don't have. But you have me that I will lobby for you. And I'm not here to campaign, I'm here for my grandkids, because I look at my grandkids And that would be the hardest thing for me to accept. My uncle drove the bus, Dwayne Smarsh, I don't know if any of you knew him.
Oh my God.
Him and I talked quite a bit about this here, you know, and you can't even take a kid. I've worked with teachers. I don't know what's happened to discipline, you know, and part of that is teaching them, you know, hopefully by the 6th grade, you're exactly right, Carol, that they don't cross. But I call it the electric fence syndrome, you know, you touch it once, you learn, but you don't never learn about a barbed wire fence. You crawl through it, you get scratched up. But anyway, I'll be happy to help you. Anything I can to help facilitate it, and you tell me what you want, not me telling you what I think you want, okay? Does everybody understand that? Because so many times we try to do things and we try to tell you what's best for you, and it doesn't work. And that's why maybe some of them don't go anywhere. And I think if we get a good bill, we can get it done. And I like the fact what you said, to stop it in the center of the road. I think that's a brilliant idea. You know, what better way to block the intersection or block the road with the bus instead of the body, you know, and that. So, any questions which you'd like?
Now, I heard someone got stopped, but they could not testify as to who was driving the car. So, they didn't get a ticket. That, it should
They
be
just had a
who,
better lawyer than the other person did.
well,
You're seriously,
yeah.
This
Is
is one
this
of the-
fact or not? If you can't prove who was driving the car, do they just skate free?
well, you ever see these ads on TV? From, we call them TVAs, TV attorneys?
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you get stopped or you just call me, it boils down to who's got the best attorney, who's got the best lobbyist. And I'm trying to be honest with you. I can tell you anything you want, but I'm telling you, that's what it boils down to. Part of the deal with the cameras is, well, if you don't get the driver, if you don't get 4 pictures of the same person, it won't. I think we can change that. You know, I wanna be optimistic that, yeah,
A car's a car.
right, you gotta get the car, the tag. See, California, or Arizona had speed ticket laws that, you know, if you went down, you see the lights flash, you got a ticket. They got the tag number. The thing is, I don't care who's driving the car. That car broke the law. We don't need to see the driver. You're the one responsible for the car. You're the one that's gonna be responsible for the death of that child because it was your vehicle. The TVA is gonna come after you. You can say who you want to, but at the end of the day, it's your car. And I think we need to get common sense laws, okay? And again, does that answer your question?
Yeah, rather than proving who was driving, nail a car.
Yeah, and that is hard, but yeah, you know, in a perfect world, we wouldn't have this conversation. It's like guns or drugs, you know, we got all kinds of laws and drugs and we got problems, you know. When I went to college back in the 60s and 70s, and you know, I don't wanna say how old I am, but you know, we actually just studied and debate whether you could sue or advertise on TV about suing. And that was quite a debate. A lot of people don't realize it wasn't until the late 1978, lawyers could advertise. They could not advertise. And now you look at all the problems we have now. If you stay home during the day, if you don't have a job, you know, half your ads are TV lawyers. You know, whether it's farmers, truck drivers, you know, businesses, you know, anything. They created a job and an ability. And we even had bills where they want to increase from 40% to 50, 60%. So I countered back with a bill that says if you lost 2 cases in a year, you can't practice for a year. Because, you know, 50% VAT rate, you know, that's not a good, you don't want an eye doctor that 2 operations and he fails, you know. So why is a lawyer exempt from, you know, that product liability? And that one of the big TV lawyers was in my office within a few hours after that advisor got a hold of that bill saying, what are you doing? He said, you know, I don't wanna hire you, maybe you're not any good. If you couldn't win my case, just like what you're saying, if you couldn't win my case, maybe you didn't work hard enough to win my case, you just took it because you're gonna get paid. But I wanna know that you did everything you can. And it made a point, so kind of backed off on some of that. But, you know, you guys have come up with some ideas that will work, you know, we all know inspections are tough, you know, what are they gonna come back on you? They're gonna come back on you if the inspection ain't done right, you had an accident. But the Arizona law, they kind of took it down because they couldn't prove that. But the Supreme Court then ruled that that wasn't. But, you know, if the Supreme Court was right every time in Kansas, out of 30 cases, 27 would have been overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. So I don't have a lot of faith in the Kansas Supreme Court on issues, you know. So again, let's not think negative, let's think positive, let's get the discussion out there, get people talking about it. And the people that vote against it, then let them say, well, this wouldn't have happened if we'd have done that. You know, and again, you guys are out there doing it, I'm not driving in there, you know, I don't even drive a semi anymore, I took one load last year and I screwed up the trailer tarp, you know. My kids don't like that, so I kinda like my dad was at that time, it's time for me not to. But again, you need protection too, because you wanna make sure that when you have to talk to them parents, that you've got proof that you did what you were supposed to do, you know. And on the other hand, you know, that was the thing with cameras in the buses too, they talk about seatbelt laws, you know, how do you make sure every kid's seatbelt in, and if the bus overturns, there was an issue with the bus driver that drove through a flood zone and kids were seatbelt. I mean, you can't make everything perfect, you know, if it was a perfect world, we never, like one of the churches told me, if we ever did good at what we did, you'd never need us a second time, which he's right, you know. So how do you balance that? But let's look forward and say, this is what we can do. We try. We will try. We will push it. And even I talked to Carol, maybe he could come up and testify to the committee, or somebody else could come up. That's important to these people. Because this is just like a committee hearing. The legislators sit around and you come up and you don't get to move around, but you sit here, you talk, and you're passionate on what you can tell them. It's critical. You know, now lawyers are good at passion because they got time to go talk to each one of you individually. Okay, they'll spend hours or days doing that. But your conversation, you come up there, you talk about this and how important it is to you as a driver to have this for those kids' safety. You know, we don't get that. In fact, we had a bill last year in transportation, and it was on EMS and police, red light and siren. You know, the same thing. They got red light and siren. There was a couple family killed in Wichita. You know, that they were in pursuit of a stolen vehicle. They were running through red lights. They tried to blame the police officers. So we had a bill that says if you break 3 rules when you don't stop for a red flashing light, all of you know what they are by any chance? Failure to yield, emergency vehicle, red lights, and siren, right? That person that didn't stop or is running away from that cop broke 3 laws. So why is the cop charged for it? Because of warning. You know, if you didn't hear it, it's not the cop's fault you didn't hear it. How long does it gotta be? He still broke the law 3 times before they ran into somebody. It's not his fault to pursue. But how do we stop a bad guy? You just can't back off, because then again, well, I don't know who's driving it. Okay, we even introduced deals where they can put paint guns and just shoot the car full of paintballs so they can identify the car. Comes back with the crooked attorneys, well, you don't know who's driving. And that was one of the bills that they had, the attorneys, they had 5 lobbyists there saying on the driver's deal against the bill to stop for a red light and siren. Because it wasn't fair to the guy that got hit. He broke the law, but he could turn around and sue the police. You know, there should be no fault insurance then, because again, you broke the law, and the commission of breaking the law, failure to yield to emergency vehicle, failure to yield to red light and siren, failed to use to, you know, emergency vehicle. Like I said, there was 3 or 4 laws in there, but they couldn't pass it. But again, this is the same way. You wanna go explain that. And again, I think, you know, I could go on for this, because I'm pretty passionate about it too. And I know you guys aren't, otherwise you wouldn't be talking about it, so that's why I'm willing to help. So, any other questions? I know I can talk too long, you usually get stuff done when you bore everybody, and they go, okay, we'll vote for it, just shut up.
I think if we gave the kids paintball guns on the bus.
Oh, God, yeah.
All right, we got the fire out going.
You know, like the cars drive the, you know, violate the stop sign, it might help with discipline issues, as long as they're not understanding on each other.
I knew a truck driver that hated tailgaters, so he rigged up brake fluid on the line out the back of his truck. If they got too bright lights, he just hit the button and squirt brake fluid out. You know what brake fluid does to your vehicle. You know, the guy might not know where it got, but you know, he did something. But again, so anyway, I'll be happy to help you. Get together, Carol and I can talk. You guys come together with some kind of plan. Make it realistic, you know. If you were sitting in this room here when Dad was up here trying to explain it, what would you vote for and what would you say? That's a little over the top, you know. So, we can get that done. Does that work for you? Any, you guys have any questions? Or are you interested in even doing it or pursuing it, or where you at?
I think it's definitely, yeah.
Good. Well, I appreciate it. And if there's anything, if you got any calls or you wanna talk and get together and discuss it after you get it done, I'll be happy to come again if I'm around. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, before you guys leave, last year, your welcome back gift was your awesome shirts. So, I have this year's gift for you, so come and get one. I have one for everybody in this room. So come get one. I have a card for you. If you didn't sign in, sign in. Meeting adjourned. Tally ho.